Do you generally believe Israel would try to harm you because of your opinion?
Do I believe Israel would try to harm me?
Yes.
I mean, of course, I don't know. I hope not. I don't want to be harmed.
Yeah.
But my main interest is not Israel.
I'm not just asking you. You were implied to that when you spoke about your coming to Israel. Let's see that for a second.
The manufactured illusion of foreign policy consensus is officially breaking down in real time. On this episode of the Vanguard Report, we are tearing off the filters to examine a high-friction ideological collision that just took place on foreign television. Media icon Tucker Carlson stepped directly into the studio of Israel's Channel 13, sitting across from establishment anchor Udi Segal. And the entire pre-scripted narrative completely imploded. Watch as the legacy media class tries to deploy emotional blackmail, historical revisionism, and geopolitical entitlement, only to be completely backed into a corner by raw, unrelenting facts. The gatekeepers are having an absolute psychological breakdown because their linguistic tricks no longer guarantee public compliance. Let's analyze the exact frames where the facade shatters.
Do you generally believe Israel would try to harm you because of your opinion?
Do I believe Israel would try to harm me?
Yes.
I mean, of course, I don't know. I hope not. I don't want to be harmed.
Yeah.
But my main interest is not Israel.
I'm not just asking you. You were implied to that when you spoke about your coming to Israel. Let's see that for a second.
And I said to them, okay, I want to send you the flight information, and I want you to pass that on to the Israeli military just so, you know, they don't mistake us for an Iranian drone or something. I mean, not to be paranoid, but again, this is probably the most violent country in the world, Israel.
So Israel is the most violent state in the world, even more than Iran? Are you serious?
No country, and I say this with sadness, but no country has boasted more about killing its political opponents than Israel, of course. So yes, Israel brags about assassinating people, and of course it does assassinate people.
I don't really know what more I can add to that. I think Tucker said it perfectly. I mean, fine, I'll give you some other examples. If a foreign country, and I really want you to be honest with yourselves about this, if a foreign country, an enemy of ours, decides we don't like their scientists, we don't like America's nuclear scientists, so we're gonna assassinate America's nuclear scientists. Would you be okay with that? Would you be okay with Israel coming in and just assassinating our scientists? They've been doing that in Iran for a very long time. Just going in. I remember having a debate with Jillian Michaels, and she brought that up like it was a good thing. Hey, Jillian, how would you feel if a foreign country decided that they don't like midriff-bearing fitness gurus with a fake vocal fry and come into our country and assassinate women like that? It would suck, right? I mean, certainly because you would be a target, but it would suck. It would suck that a civilian would be targeted for slaughter by a foreign country, but that's what Israel does. So I know how credulous this host is. I know how shocked he is that anyone would ever claim that Iran is less vicious, they're less barbaric than the Israelis are. But the truth is the truth, and we've all been forced to see it for the last 2.5, nearly 3 years. Let's go to the next video.
You can't kill people who did nothing wrong.
It's not just that, you know. I'm going back to October 7th. This was a massacre.
Right.
That was an attack on Israel about innocent, about women, raping women, kidnapping infants, taking them to the tunnels for long months inside Gaza. Do you imagine what the United States would have done to an enemy that would have attacked the United States and do the same in the same magnitude?
Well, I don't need to imagine, because we had 9/11 where many innocents were killed, and in response, the United States killed some of the perpetrators and also many innocents. And so we've done that. It is never allowable period, for any person to kill an innocent. You can't kill a child. The child did nothing wrong. And civilized people understand that. That's what civilized people are.
It seems like,
yeah, right.
But it seems like when you speak about Israel as the most violent state in the world, you forget to mention that it is the most attacked state in the world from so many enemies, like any other country in the world. So if you don't put this equation together, it seems like we are doing it for fun or that we lost our morality. This is self-defense.
Well,
notice the immediate operational mechanism of the special pleading fallacy. The establishment anchor attempts to frame an entire history of targeted sovereign assassinations and systematic border expansions as nothing more than passive self-defense. Under this cognitive bias, the establishment believes that their actions exist completely outside the laws of cause and effect. They treat their own violence as a moral necessity, while labeling identical actions by any other regional actor as pure, unprovoked barbarism. It is an intellectual double standard that completely falls apart the second you apply uniform criteria to global data.
For the targeting of civilians on October 7th. That wasn't justification for it, right? Then the Israelis turn around and say, October 7th is justification for everything we're doing right now. No, the same standards need to apply fairly to everybody. So if that's the way the Israelis feel about their own behavior following October 7th, then if you rewind back to October 7th, based on their own logic, Hamas was free to do whatever they wanted. It would still be moral. They could have killed more people because of all of the atrocities committed against the Palestinian people prior to that day, right? Why wouldn't the atrocities of the Israelis against the Palestinian people prior to October 7th apply to Hamas and what they carried out on October 7th, similar to how the genocide that Israel is carrying out and provides cover for? They think that it's totally justified to do it because of what happened to them on a single day, October 7th. See, the thing that they're having a hard time understanding is that they're not special. You're not special. To the Israeli people, you are not special. Your life isn't more important than a Palestinian's life. Your war crimes are just as bad as war crimes perpetrated by other countries. You're not special. I don't care what you guys tell yourselves. I don't care what kind of magical thinking you engage in. Your life is not more valuable than other people's lives. I know it's hard to accept that, but that's what Tucker Carlson is referring to when he talks about universal principles. Civilian lives should be protected under any and all circumstances. But the Israelis don't believe that unless they're talking about themselves. When it comes to literally everyone else, slaughter away, who cares? We're the Israelis, we're special. Next video.
The reason that I have cause to comment on this and to say that it's wrong is that I'm paying for it. There's no reason the United States should be sending any money at all to Israel, and particularly not to its military.
Even if
Israel has neighbors that...
Even if the price will be the annihilation of Israel? This is not your problem.
I don't want... Let me be clear.
This is the morality that you're preaching for.
Look closely at the sheer psychological entitlement on display here. The host moves straight into an appeal to consequences trap, claiming that if the American taxpayer stops funding their military apparatus, regional annihilation is our moral fault. It is an emotional shakedown. They have spent decades using linguistic shields to confuse corporate defense contracts with genuine alliance. Tucker hits the core reality, pointing out that a sovereign superpower has zero material obligation to bankroll a foreign state's geopolitical ambitions isn't malicious. It is basic mathematics.
Yeah, look, I mean, the way that this host is behaving tells you everything you need to know about their sense of entitlement to our money. Our money. So it's not good enough to sit by and just stay quiet as they carry out their slaughter campaigns, their land theft, their border expansion project. That's not good enough. You also have to bankroll it, right? And then you have these charities, Cars for Kids in the United States. Never enough. It's never enough for the Israelis. It's never enough. They have to lie and cheat through these nonprofits to take money from Americans who think they're helping underprivileged children here in the United States. But it turns out the money actually goes to freaking adults who want to take a trip to Israel. Adult people who want to find a match, another Jewish person that they can match with and get married. That's what Cars for Kids is spending the money on. It's never enough. It's never enough. The lying, the cheating, the stealing, the slaughter, the border expansion. Their sense of entitlement takes an already disastrous situation for them PR-wise, and it just puts it on overdrive, steroids. No. You are not entitled to our money. You're not even entitled to our support. I don't support it. I'm actually a little more extreme than Tucker Carlson. I don't like Israel. I would like nothing to do with Israel. It's not good enough to stop bankrolling their atrocities. I do not want to be allies with them. I would prefer to have a hostile relationship with Israel. That's what I would like. And I don't know if he's doing it for strategic reasons or if he genuinely no, I like Israel. I don't know how you can. I don't know how anyone can. But I'm not gonna lie to anybody about how I feel toward Israel. Terrible country that has destroyed our country thanks to the wars that we've gotten dragged into in the Middle East, thanks to the trillions of dollars we spent fighting their wars, thanks to the hostility that's been directed toward our country because we helped them with their dirty work. I'm not gonna pretend like I like Israel. Anyway, so while it's abundantly clear that Israel was the main motivator behind attacking Iran, going to war with a country of 92 million people, this host, Segal, desperately wants us to believe otherwise. It's amazing. Take a look.
You accuse Netanyahu of dragging Trump into an unnecessary war with Iran. So let's think about what it actually means. Do you really think that a foreign leader can pull the president of the United States into a war he didn't want? And what does it tell us about Trump? Is he really that weak?
Well, I don't think that could happen. I saw it happen. I was there. And so that happened. I blame Donald Trump for folding under the pressure from Benjamin Netanyahu and his many allies in the United States. Donors to Donald Trump, people in the media class here, were effectively working on behalf of the Israeli government, and Donald Trump, whose decision it was, caved under that pressure. But on February 28th, the United States followed Israel into this war. And the Secretary of State of the United States said, we had no choice. They chose the time. The Israeli prime minister decided when this started. Well, that's the definition of control. He had control of this war.
This is the ultimate Vanguard exposure. The host tries to set a rhetorical trap, asking if Trump is too weak to be controlled, assuming Tucker will back down to protect a political ally. Instead, Tucker blows the entire narrative wide open. He outlines the exact anatomy of institutional capture, a combination of high-value billionaire donors, media proxies, and foreign state actors working in tandem to override domestic interests. When a major political insider openly admits on foreign television that American military assets are being deployed at the time and choosing of an external state, our national sovereignty is officially exposed as a multi-trillion-dollar theater project.
It's over. It's over. The American people have seen too much. Democratic voters, for the most part, already knew. But now conservatives are waking up because it turns out we like living in a, sovereign country. A country where our people, with our government and our representatives who have been elected by the American people, make decisions that benefit us. That's what a sovereign country is, right? We haven't lived in a sovereign country for quite some time now. The fact that we are in a war against Iran is a very big example of that. But here's this guy who's like, oh, are you saying that Trump is so weak that he got tricked into a war? Yes, the answer is yes. The answer is yes, That's what happened. The guy who said over and over and over again that these Middle East wars are stupid. He's not gonna start any of these wars. He literally won his election by repeating over and over again that he's not going to start any of these dumb wars. But he did just that. Why? Why would he do that as the global economy is crippled by it? Why would he do that when the majority of Americans are against it? Why would he do that when we have nothing to gain from this war? He would do it because Israel wants it. So I would really appreciate if people like this stop trying to insult our intelligence and pretend like, again, what we have been seeing for the last nearly 3 years didn't actually happen, because it did happen. We all witnessed it, we all saw it, and I'm sick of the gaslighting. The final moment worth bringing up is when Tucker basically called Israelis terrorists, and I agree with it. Let's take a look.
This is exactly what Donald Trump said. He said that the United States would have been in danger. So you don't believe Donald Trump?
I don't believe Donald Trump, and I also think as an Israeli, you should pause before using the phrase terror regime, since you live in a country that just murdered thousands of children in Gaza. We should all pull back a little bit on the rhetoric like that. I'm not defending Iran, but I'm just saying
even the fact
terror
that you want
regime.
me
it's a little hard to hear that from an Israeli right now.
The rhetorical game is over. For decades, the administrative elite have used terms like terror regime as absolute moral wildcards to shut down critical evaluation and validate global intervention. But the moment Tucker mirrors that exact vocabulary back onto their own ongoing regional operations, the anchor completely locks up. They are utterly unaccustomed to facing their own linguistic weapons. The establishment cannot survive an environment of true semantic equality. Their power relies entirely on their exclusive right to define who is the criminal and who is the protector.
Damn right, it's hard to hear that from an Israeli. I don't want to hear an Israeli talk about nuclear weapons of another country, considering the fact that they have a clandestine nuclear program. I don't want to hear anything about terrorism or terror regimes from the Israelis when they themselves are the biggest terrorists on the globe right now, and I do mean that. The Israelis do not have a moral high ground in anything right now, literally anything. So you want to talk about terror regimes, look in the mirror, Israel. And it feels real good to see Tucker say it right to that guy's face on Channel 14. It's wonderful. More of that, please.
The corporate scripts have officially run out of runway, and the public is completely done with the gaslighting. When the premier anchors of mainstream media are reduced to stunned silence on their own sets, you know the institutional monopoly on information is completely dead. The veil of power only protects the elite as long as the public agrees to follow their double standards. If you are ready for a forensic look at global power dynamics without the corporate filters, hit that subscribe button right now. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Has independent, decentralized media permanently broken the establishment's ability to manipulate public trust? I'm the Vanguard, and this was the report.